We had it. From 1976 to 2003, for 27 years, we had a supersonic commercial airliner called the Concorde. Today's commercial airliners take 7 hours to fly from New York to London. The Concorde only took 3.5 hours. This same trip would take 137 hours by ship, equivalent to 6 days. Manufacturing the Concorde was a joint effort between the United Kingdom's and France's governments. Only 20 Concordes were produced, of which 6 were prototypes, and only 14 managed to fly for airlines. But suddenly one day, it was gone. We lost it. But why? Why did the Concorde fail? The Concorde flew at a much higher altitude than other commercial aircraft. This was to take advantage of a lower atmospheric density and thus reduce air resistance. Its flight altitude was twice that of other aircraft. Its speed was so high that it could surpass a 9mm bullet. It was 60% faster. Even though the outside temperature was -56 degrees Celsius, the Concorde flew so fast that the windows became so hot that you could only put your hand on them for a few seconds. This was because the friction with the air particles generated extreme heat throughout the surface of the plane's fuselage. But despite being the fastest means of civil transport we have ever had, and despite being in service for 27 years, the question remains: how was it possible for this marvel of technology to become a museum piece? On the 25th of July of the year 2000, the Concorde suffered a serious accident. 113 people died. A year later, the civil aviation industry suffered a severe economic blow with the attacks of September 11th, forcing airlines to cut back on expenses. All of this affected the Concorde, but was not the main reason why it went out of service. The Concorde was finally withdrawn from service on the 26th of November, 2003. The supersonic aircraft had specific technical problems that led to its failure. Noise levels. The noise levels at takeoff were high, but at the time of reaching supersonic speed, these were extreme. So the Concorde was limited to supersonic flights only over the ocean. There were no supersonic flights from New York to Los Angeles or over Europe. Price. The price of a round-trip ticket from New York to London was around $12,000, while the same flight on a 747 aircraft cost only $1,500, although there was a third, cheaper option. One of the many reasons why the price difference was so large was because of the distribution of the cost by number of passengers, since the Concorde had a capacity of only 180 passengers, while a conventional 747 could carry 400 to 500. In 1977, each Concorde had a production cost of $247 million today, adjusted for inflation. Sometimes we think that innovation and new technologies are automatic and that they remain in our society by magic, but innovation has to be driven by governments and by people who invest in them. And for that, they have to make economic sense. They have to have a successful business model with enough users so that they can survive the difficulties of the passage of time. Let's just hope that one day we can see a worthy successor to this wonderful supersonic aircraft. Hopefully, one day we can see something as incredible as the Concorde in our airports again.